Hi, hello everyone. Hi everybody. I'm Brandy Riley. I am the person behind the Brandy Show. So, a little bit about me. I am a creative professional. I always have been. I went to school for speech and theater. I was a theater performer in regional theaters for a little bit of time and I hated auditioning. So I hated auditioning. So after a an apprenticeship that I did with a Walnut Street Theater Company in Philadelphia, I learned a lot about writing curriculum for families and writing plays and all that. And I got into that, started doing that. Hi, friends. Got into that, started doing a lot of that type of stuff, and just really fell in love with education, teaching people stuff. Then I became a mom and I fell in love with blogging and being online and all that. And so now I'm in kind of a different season of my life. I am so fortunate to have had just about every positive experience a creator and influencer could have. I mean, like hosted trips and hundreds of thousands of dollars, like seriously, in sponsored posts and meeting so many amazing people and just speaking on stages, like so many opportunities. But I kind of got tired, y'all. I kind of burnt out. And so I started looking for something different. A few years back, about 5 years back, after I had my son, I just wanted out. I wanted out of the online chase for algorithm and the chase for followers and subscribers and all that kind of stuff. And I started working in tech. I started working at a tech company that has an app for parents or a platform for parents to be able to monitor their kids online. From there, I fell in love with trust and safety, which is where I am now, director of trust and safety at another social media company. So, in between there have been other jobs and all that kind of stuff. One thing about me, and my friends will tell you, is I can get a job and I love working. I love being challenged and all that kind of stuff. So I get questions all the time from folks who are asking about, like, how do I take those skills and transfer them into a new role? And so this is our first Ask Me Anything. Hold on one second. Sweetie, mommy's on a live stream.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh, Call me up when you're done too. You can write what I want you to say for Brandon.
Okay. We'll do. See you in a bit. Working mom life, y'all. Ain't nothing changed. Ain't nothing changed. That I'll address as we're talking about finding a role that works for you. All right. So I'm just gonna start. I knew we wouldn't have a lot of folks because it's kind of last minute. But I did get some questions from folks. So I thought I would go and answer those questions and just give some feedback. And then if you guys have any questions, I will ask that. If you have any friends and you want to tell them to come or you want to invite them to watch the stream after it's live, please do. Hey, Shell. We got Casey, we got Shell, we got Christine. Hi, friends. All right. So you guys have heard all of this before, but I'll put it in a way that maybe it makes better sense because these are some of my girlfriends who are on the side. So they hear me talking about this stuff all the time. So the question that I've gotten the most is, how do you find roles? It's not a trick, y'all, but I am going to tell you like my best practice. LinkedIn. LinkedIn is really the main place where I look for roles. LinkedIn is such a comprehensive site that and I trust it, and they do a really good job of not having a bunch of spam jobs or multi-level marketing, which is not spam. I don't think that's spam, but it's not the type of role that I'm looking for. I really like LinkedIn. They are the premier. They've taken over from Indeed, which is another good place. But when I look at like aesthetically, I'm drawn to LinkedIn. Idealist is another place that I like to look at. That's really for nonprofit jobs, nonprofit roles. And a lot of times they are companies that have been vetted by the Idealist platform. So you know that it's positive and you know the culture is going to be engaging and all that kind of stuff. And then the final place that I sometimes look for jobs is AngelList. AngelList has a lot of startups. They talk about how much equity you're going to get. They talk about how much your salary is going to be and all that type of stuff. I appreciate that. Now, here's something that I want to make sure you guys are aware of. I didn't get any questions about this, but I want to put this out there, is equity. When you are working at a tech startup or really any tech company these days, you should be offered some equity in the company. That means that you own stocks or you own stock options. And if it's a company like mine that I work at, where it's not right now, it's not public. So it's not, nobody's investing in it. Public folks aren't investing in it. But when it does go public, I have a good amount of shares that I can purchase for a minimum price. And so I will come in probably under whatever those shares go for. And that's how people in tech become millionaires. Okay. So I'll just give you an example. And this is kind of a real example, not necessarily mine, but it's a real example. You have 80,000 shares. You're new to a company. They give you 80,000 shares or options for 80,000 shares. The company goes public and their shares are $10 a piece. But you're grandfathered in, are able to purchase up to 80,000 shares for 5 cents a piece. So while everybody else is paying $10, you're paying 5 cents. So on every share you have, and if you have 80,000, you're making $9.50 over on times 80,000. So you can make a lot of money, so when you're looking at your compensation package, making sure that you're aware of, stock options and how those work and all that kind of stuff. Another question that I get is, I'm used to being an independent entrepreneur. I work when I want, I do what I want. And I want y'all to know that there are roles out there like that. There are so many roles out there like that. I haven't worked in an office or been obligated to come into an office in over a decade. I just won't do it. I can't do it. Like if I have to be in any more than like once or twice a quarter, it just, especially with gas prices right now, my kids and all that they have going on, I just can't do it. I just can't do it. And there are roles out there, especially now that we've had the pandemic and stuff, there are roles out there where you can work fully remote and you are going to get paid the same amount as somebody who would go into an office, except you don't have the commute and you don't have to, if you're an introvert like me, you don't have to deal with a lot of small talk. You're able to be in charge of your schedule. So there are days when I wake up and I start working at 5:30, or I might wait and I might start working at 6 at night. I have the option to do that because of the nature of my job, but also because that's the type of job I really looked for. Okay. Um, let's see, other questions that I have received. Okay, so where do you find jobs? Not many questions about stock options. How do you Oh, here's the other thing about being an entrepreneur or being a creative who's used to making your own schedule. While I did say that you are able to pretty much find a job doing whatever you want in whatever time frame you want, that's possible. But the other thing you do want to make sure is that you're being honest in your interviews and you're being, flexible if you need to be. So everyone knows that I have little kids. I say that in my interviews. And if they have an issue with that, nobody has ever said it to me, but they might, and then they can make the decision on their part whether or not to hire me. But the fact still remains that I have little kids that I take to school, that I pick up. I have a life outside of work. I do not live to labor. That is not my main goal. I want to do purposeful work. I want to do meaningful work, but I don't want to live to work. Okay. So yeah. So I just wanted to put that out there. Make sure you're honest about, what you need up front. Make sure you let them know, hey, I really am not a morning person, so 8, 9 o'clock meetings. If when they ask like what's your strengths and what's your weakness, that's one of the things. Like, I don't know if this is a weakness or not. I just don't like waking up early and having meetings early. So, I typically try to schedule my meetings later in the day. Like, be honest about what you need, and the right role will absolutely open up. Compensation. So, people ask me all the time. I sent out a newsletter yesterday that had 9 jobs paying $80,000 plus. So, first thing is, how do I know how much it pays? Here is a tip. When you're looking for roles, you want to try to find companies that post Colorado. So for me, I go to LinkedIn when I'm looking for roles, and right now I'm not looking for anything. Okay. I just look because I'm putting together newsletters and lists and things like that. So, so I have less of a connection to any of this. So if I seem a little, cavalier and casual about it, it's because it doesn't hold a lot of weight to me right now. Go to LinkedIn when you're doing your job search, click on job search, search for jobs. Then you're going to put in Colorado, but you're going to click remote. You're going to also look at, what sort of, like, if you want to put content writer or creator or whatever type of thing you think you might want to do, you can put that inside of the search bar, and then jobs that are in Colorado or that are posting in Colorado will show up. Colorado has made it illegal to post a job, or I don't know if illegal is the word. Let me just say, Colorado has made it a requirement that any jobs that are posted have to have the salary range on there. So if you're posting in, Google has remote jobs and they're hiring people in Colorado, which they are, their salary is going to be there. There are other companies that sometimes create a completely different listing, but they'll put the information in a URL that you can click on and go and find more information about the compensation. New York does the same thing. It's very new for New York and for Washington. So a lot of jobs, if they've been up for 2 or 3 weeks or more, it may not have that in there, but for most other jobs, it will. For newer jobs, it definitely must have that in there. Once you find out the companies that are doing that, so I'm going to tell you a big one that does it is Google. Google does it. They put the salary in there. I love it. Zoom does it. They're really good about making sure that's in there. The Mom Project, which is an agency which I'll talk about in a few minutes. The Mom Project puts job salaries on there. So it's a really good way to just kind of get a sense for what you can expect. Now, for me, I live in California, so if it only has Colorado, then I know that whatever is the lowest whatever is the lowest. So if it says 80,000, I know in California, if I get hired, they're going to pay at least 100,000. All right. If they have the New York range on there, that's pretty much close to what I would see out here in California. So just know that it may be a little bit less, a little bit more, depending on where you live, but that will at least give you somewhere to start. Because for me, that's always like the hardest part. Like, where do I start? Let's also talk about compensation. You guys, I can't think of any job right now that you should be going into and asking for anything less than $65,000. Why? Because of your experience as a creator, because of your experience as an influencer. The biggest challenge I see with folks is that their resume doesn't really accurately represent all of the work that they've done. I was talking to someone today who builds websites and was going in for an interview, and I reminded her, like, hey, you do all of these you do user experience because you build websites for different types of people, for different categories. You have to take into account who is the audience for this website. So making sure that you're being very granular when you're putting together your resume about all of the skills and qualifications you have, and making sure to I to articulate it in a way that makes sense for the job. So for me, if I'm like, yes, I had a Facebook group with 6,000 people, I did live streams daily. That's awesome for like a creator. But if I want to take that into like a director of community role or even a community manager role, if I want to take it into that, then I need to articulate it in, continuously engage the community with various types of content, including live streaming, pre-recorded video, ebooks. Like, make sure you are not playing down your strengths and your qualifications. Okay. All right. So the last thing I want to share, unless there are any questions, I knew this was going to be a small one. That's why I told folks, make sure you come to this one because you'll get some one-on-one attention. Here's the other thing. The last thing that I have to talk about. If you are considering going, like, there's a lot of reasons that you might consider going into a company or getting a job or something like that. It might be just that you need money, which is very like that's the only reason I work is because I need money. Okay. Otherwise, I would be lollygagging all around. You know what I mean? So, you might need money more consistently. For me, I have been a blogger. I've made a lot of money. I didn't do great with all that money because it's just my personality. I am neurodivergent. Like, there's a lot of things that I just haven't been great with pulling it all together and really building it up the way that it could have been, or I might have wanted it to be. But I find that in my career, I'm a lot more free. I'm a lot more creative. I feel a lot less stressed and I make the same or more money consistently because I don't have to worry about all of those things that aren't necessarily of interest to me. So, if you're considering it and you're scared because you're afraid of losing your autonomy, remember that you can always quit. Number one, you can always quit if it doesn't work out, if it doesn't feel good. Give your notice a week. Yes, just a week. Give your notice and then try something different. That is okay. You have the right to change your mind. The other thing is you can also try doing a contract position. I have worked several contract positions that were amazing. I mean, and I'm not talking about just like freelancing, which is great, and being an entrepreneur in that way, but I mean working with a company like the Mom Project. There's Pro Group Unlimited, which works with like Facebook, Instagram, a bunch of other tech companies out here in California, but that are hiring people remote. They pay weekly, they pay well, so they're paying an hourly rate that is commensurate with whatever the salary would be. I worked at a company a couple summers ago, maybe it was last summer, I can't remember, but it was like a short contract. It was like a 8-week contract or something like that. It was the summer before last because I needed to save money because we were about to buy our house. And so I was like, well, let me just do this contract job. It was a great experience. I love being challenged. I love learning something new. I loved having a very defined beginning, middle, and end for the job. I loved getting paid every week. I also had benefits even through the agency. I didn't need them because I had another job, but health insurance, a lot of the companies also offer health insurance, even for a contract position. And then if you like it and they like you at the end of the contract, some are 8 weeks, some are 12 months, some are 9 months. Like it's just all over the place. At the end of it, if you like them and they like you could convert to be a full-time employee. So that's just another option to think about, like looking at contract agencies, looking at places where they are hiring contractors to work at companies and they're paying really well. And for that job, if I can recall, I know it was I think it was $45 an hour or something like that. And it was for 10 hours a week. Was it 10 hours or 20 hours? I know it was a substantial amount because I was like, wow, we are really putting this money away for savings. So if you have a goal in mind, it could help, like if you want to do a little sacrificing for a little bit, that might be an option for you as well. So those are some of the questions that I receive, and those jobs can be also be found on LinkedIn. You can just put in contract, and you put in, you put in writer, contract, and and do a search, and a lot of those roles will pop up. Then once you figure out, I know you guys know this already, but once you figure out like who the agencies are that offer the type of roles that you're most interested in, then you just you follow them on LinkedIn, and whenever they post stuff, you just keep looking at it, and you submit yourself. So that's how you can get started. That's how you can use your skills as a creative professional to transition into another role. Oh, before we go, one more thing I want to say. When you're thinking about what type of roles you should get, or you should take, like, think outside of just, well, I'm a blogger, so I'm going to search for blogger. No, you're a writer, you're an editor, you are a curator. There are a lot of jobs out there now for folks who do for commerce editor. And so those are creating like list posts. We do that all the time as bloggers, creating list posts. Every single big website. I mean, Forbes even has a commerce section where they have people who are writing posts specifically for affiliate marketing. A lot of places are hiring folks to work as like branded content. So sponsored posts, if you've done sponsored posts, you can do branded content for a company. If you've done podcasting, you can work in audio at different companies. You can work at an audio company. You can work at Spotify. You can work at any other audio company. There's so many out there now that I can't even think of them. But making sure that if you've had a Facebook group, if you've had if you've hosted courses and stuff, you could be a learning and development manager. You could be a community manager, director of community. Last thing I'll say. Yes, my love.
Yeah, I turned up the top fan because it was making my eyes turn to crust.
Okay, well, it's very hot up there, so we're gonna have to turn it back on when I come up there.
Okay.
All righty. I love working from home. I really do. Like these little conversations, I just love it. Don't think that you have to be an assistant. Don't think that you have to be you have to be a coordinator. Not that there's anything wrong with being an assistant or a coordinator, but if you've been blogging for 8, 10, 12 years, there's no reason why you can't go in for a director role or a VP role. It's again about making sure you're articulating your experiences in a way that translates to a new role. My suggestion, and I had to do this, friends, so I'm not suggesting something that I haven't done. My suggestion would be to hire someone to redo your resume. There are so many amazing resume writers out there right now that are able to do that have the qualifications to like take what you do and just really make it. They're not lying, they're just making it shine a lot more and fit into the next phase of your life and where you want to go from here. So if you are truly considering getting a full-time role, especially if you're doing, part-time or contract, you could probably work on it and figure out how to, make it look good yourself. But if you're looking for a substantial increase in the money that you're bringing in, you're looking for something that is a bit more meaningful, then I would highly suggest hiring somebody to do your resume. I have some recommendations if you need that. So just let me know and I will tag some people who I know do that. And the final thing I will say this, listen, I had to get over like not feeling like I didn't have the right type of experience. So the first like tech role that I took after like getting out of, so deciding like I'm transitioning from social media and blogging, all that kind of stuff. Which by the way, I do want to let y'all know that I still have my blog and it is still making consistent passive income. So you don't have to give all of that stuff up, but I'm able to just focus on my blog and not have to worry so much about social media. I feel good about that. So just wanted to put that out there. And then I lost my train of thought. It was something to oh, this is what I was gonna say. I had to start to I had to stop feeling like they were doing me a favor by putting me in like a manager role, and that I had to start looking at my experiences. And in my head, on my resume, it made sense, but in my head, I had to like make it make sense. And I had to say, no, Brandy, from your past experiences, from my past, manager roles and the work that I've done, like I should be here. I deserve this job. I deserve this work. And then when I finally got it, and I was like, yeah, I do deserve it. And I deserve to be paid more. I had to leave that role in order to go to another role to make 100 times more. It's 100% more, not 100 times more. I wouldn't be doing this video. I'd probably be on an island somewhere. But to do 100 what is it 100% more salary than what I was making. So like I doubled my salary plus some. Okay. And I had to leave that role. First, I had to gain the confidence and recognize that my skills and qualifications truly were transferable. And I was doing the work that I was capable of, qualified for, and should be doing. And then I had to realize, okay, now that I know that, I am being underpaid. And, if you can't get a raise there, then you go somewhere else and another company is going to automatically pay you more than what you're making. So Michelle said, okay, big baller. Yes. Listen, as hard as I have worked over these years, it's a blessing to be medium baller. Cause remember, I live in California. I'll say small baller. Because I live in California. So, but you guys, that is it. That's all I wanted to share today. I'm going to do a Ask Me Anything every month, just 30 minutes. I'll either answer questions that I get from people via email, or if there are folks that are live that have questions, I'll answer it then. But if not, no worries. I'm happy my girlfriends showed up. And for anybody who is watching the replay, please make sure you like and subscribe so I know you were here. Leave a comment so I can check in with you and see how you're doing. And good luck on your job search, friends. All right, talk to y'all later.